when we look at the current leadership of ANC, one really wonders, where did they really get it wrong? The corruption cases, infightings, factions, court cases. One really wonders what happened to ANC. Where did they really get it wrong? But to go to that, we first have to look at the leadership of ANC from the beginning until presently. In 1912 to 1917, they had John Dube. 1917 to 1924, they had Sefako Makgatho. Zacharias Mahabane took it from 1924 to 1927. 1927 to 1930, Josiah Gumede. From Gumede, Pixley Seme took it from 1930 to 1936. And then in 1937, Zacharias Mahabane comes again. 1940 to 1949, Alfred Bitini Zuma, or is it Zuma? I stand to be corrected. In 1949 to 1952, James Moroka came in. Albert Litulu came in 1952 to 1967. And 1967 to 1991, Oliver Tambo came in. Now that was when the real fight was busy now for freedom. And in 1991 until 1997, Nelson Mandela came. Now all the lists that I gave you are people who were leading, who started the movement and who led fighting the freedom that we had. Everything was good until Nelson Mandela now is coming out, 1991. Nelson Mandela comes out, and now the real fight begins, where they have won this fight against the white people to get them recognition. Now they've been recognized. Mandela gets to become a president. He goes on to become a president for one term, and then the leadership of ANC continues. Thabo Mbeki took it from 1997 to 2007. It's no longer one term. Jacob Zuma gets into power in 2007 until 2017. And we find ourselves presently, 2018 to present. The question was, where did they get it wrong? And what really happened? We go back here. From here, this is the richest history that we know. The people before that, yes, that was the richest history. But when you compare to the ones we knew, just closer to getting the freedom that we have, you are speaking about Albert Lituli. You are speaking about Oliver Tambo. You are speaking about Nelson Mandela. Those are the leaders that pushed this fight for freedom until 1994. Here was the crop that we can all say ANC was at its peak. They knew the assignment. They knew what they wanted to do for the black child, for the black person, for future generations. They knew what they wanted to do with this movement. Now, Mandela gets to be a president. He says, I can't go for another term. I will only leave it for the future leaders. Now I'm done with my work. I fought for this freedom. Let the one who needs to continue come and take it. Then they give it to Thabo Mbeki, the son of Governor Mbeki. Now, the leadership of Thabo Mbeki was really more about building more relationships, financial relationships, investments. he did his work. If you compare, excluding Nelson Mandela, the leaders who came after freedom, Thabo Mbeki is the shining star. He did all, and unfortunately, that problem of ARVs will follow him no matter where he goes, because he could have made his seat the best by allowing ARVs. But he didn't believe in ARVs, and that resulted in many people dying. That is one thing he can actually regret. Now, the controversial exit of Thabo Mbeki was followed by Jacob Zuma. And Mr. Jacob Zuma had all the scandals. So many scandals. He had the rape scandals. The rape charges, he went to court for those. Now he's currently in court. Today he was in court for another scandal. He's forever having scandals. He had many. He had the ones with Zondo. They took him to court. He went to jail. Came out. This is another leader who has seen it all when coming to the infightings, the court battles. This is the one who actually was around when all these things started happening. And then you have Ramaphosa. When they voted him, when he became president, people said, well, Mr. Ramaphosa is the best since Nelson Mandela. This guy knows business. He has money. He knows business. He knows how to run everything. So he's basically going to run this movement and all is going to be well. But we still find ourselves complaining about the movement, saying they have no direction. Now, in my own view, I think they got it wrong here. This is where it all started getting wrong. Not Nelson Mandela himself, but the movement. They've been fighting while they were in jail. The biggest mission was, let's get out, let's give black people freedom. Let them taste the fruits of freedom. They get out. He gets out. Other freedom fighters get out. And then the fruits, black people get to become leaders. Now, the problem is that there were many leaders in ANC. Some of them probably died before they could even become leaders in the movement. And there were people who were not really born leaders, but they had to be given chairs, the leadership, the chairs, because they were there. They were there during all these struggles. You do not sideline your fellow fighter and say, well, we can see you don't have qualities to become a leader, to lead this movement. Then go outside. No, they don't do that. They give them a chance to also lead. So basically, when Nelson Mandela became president, and then he comes from being arrested, there were a lot of people who were there with him. The current ones, the ones that we have, they were there. Most of them were there fighting for freedom. And some of them were there fighting, but they never had any leadership. They were fighting for the freedom that we are enjoying, but they were like messengers. There were people who don't have those qualities of leading, but they are there for the struggle. They are loyal. When they send him to do something, he goes without asking a question. That is someone you pay. You pay their loyalty. Well, Nelson Mandela came, we got freedom. Some got shares at big companies, mining companies. Some got money. Some got given farms. Those were the people that they were like, okay, we can't give you the leadership position, but let's give you this money. Let's transfer you to these companies. And then there were some who didn't have the qualities to also lead the other companies. So they would say, let's keep you closer and teach you how to become a leader. My problem with that is that you can never teach someone to be a leader. Leaders are born. So there was a whole crop of people who didn't have the leadership. And then they brought them to say, We will teach you. You have been there with the struggle for freedom. We will teach you how to become a leader. Now they have all these people, and then they go into government. There are a lot of portfolios. Minister of this, minister of that. Those people that they said, we will teach you how to be leaders. Remember, carrying a gun doesn't mean you are a leader. Fighting doesn't mean you are a leader. Leadership is something you are born with. You can be someone who fights but still have no leadership skills. So now they put them in government, and then they learn the work from inside. Do you think they will even know how to lead? I don't think so. None of them will. Because all they know is what they are being taught. I mean, a leader needs to think. You need to be proactive. But they are using a manual. They are like, okay, chapter 9, they say, when people are protesting, this is what you need to do. Call a press conference. Those are frameworks. Now, we find ourselves currently with ministers. Some of them were ministers in 97 when Nelson Mandela was there. Some of them started when Mbeki started. Some of them came with Jacob Zuma, but the most of them started there, back there. They've been around. Now the problem starts when they continue to lead, but they can't even do anything. And then they start fighting for these positions. You can't take me out of my position. I fought for this freedom. The freedom that you are enjoying. That's when we find ourselves without many young people in the movement who can lead, who can take the baton from Cyril Ramaphosa and continue. You find older people who are continuing to fight for the current president race. They want to fight for that. Because there's no chance for young people. Why? Them leaders were there during the struggle. They still want to taste the leadership of presidency. They are like, okay, everyone has their chance, but we are still waiting. Next thing we find ourselves with leaders, presidents at age of 80 years, 70 years, because all of them are still waiting. Until they die, they are not going to give up on fighting for this leadership. So my answer to that is that, where did they get it wrong? They got it wrong when they got this power, and after getting the power, they focused more on giving the people who were there with them, who were fighting, they focused on giving them the chance to also be leaders in their own portfolios, instead of looking right inside the movement. Even if someone just came this year when we only enjoyed freedom the past 4 years, and someone came this year, but you can see this person has leadership. You groom that person and then give them a chance while time goes, and then maybe they can get to be a leader because they have the qualities. Now, because they were not using that criteria, they use a criteria where they put people who were there. Because if you look at how the government is, how the leadership is, most of the people, their credentials, MK veteran, fought for freedom, arrested in Robben Island. I spent 10 years in Robben Island. I spent 10 years in prison. But then, yeah, you fought for freedom, but you don't have leadership skills. Then why do you not maybe stay at the back seat, just manage a smaller portfolio, let the real leaders lead, so that it's not only about ANC, it's about South Africa. That is why we'll find ourselves crying, saying, well, it's 27 years later, 28 years later, we still can't see anything. You could have done better, but because it's more about we also want to lead, nothing will ever happen then. Now we find ourselves with people who are fighting battles inside. The people who started this movement I'm sure they're turning in their grave when they see people fighting inside ANC, factions in ANC. The first leader, John Dube, is probably wondering what happened. Why are these people fighting when they should be fighting for the black people to be ahead? Why are they fighting themselves? And it's no secret that ANC actually is declining. They're actually scared that 2024 is going to be a problem because now the decline is too much. They're probably going to go below 50%, which is going to be a big problem for them. It's going to be tragic if they go there. Now, they should have known better not to focus on factions, but to focus more on if someone has the qualities, let's back that person up. And let's stop eating that money. Let's stop saying, I struggled for this freedom, then I need to have money because I was in jail. Let's focus on getting those salaries we are getting and do the job we are hired for. Then that thing of corruption will end. Then South Africa will be a better place. But we are not there because it's all about you ate, I'm eating, the next one must also eat. You can't close the gates of money. We all need to eat. That's why I think they got it wrong. But it's not too late to change everything. Or maybe it is. Because already they are fighting battles that no one can stop. Then again, everything comes to an end. Every good thing comes to an end. Nelly Futaru said that. So the next crop of leadership is probably not going to be from ANC. Because they've had their chance. They played with what could have been the best thing for a black person and South Africa as a whole. 2024 will reveal who the next crop of leaders would be. But because ANC is still struggling with choosing leaders, they're still fighting, looking at 50 years old, 60 years old to lead. They might find themselves being the opposition parties. And it's not going to be good for the leaders that fought for this movement. But then again, it's no longer about the past. It's about the present. And that's where we end it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time. Cheers.